noche, no nos queda mucho tiempo más. No quiero perder lo que queda. Seguimos siempre la pasión y confiamos solo en el amor. Yeah. No quiero perder lo que queda. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más crecemos en número, en solo un trueno de horizontes. Seremos miles. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad.
you take me. I just follow your trail, and I'm losing your mind, and I'm losing your head. Let me escape from this unlove, 'cause I'm a prisoner. I just want to look my way and never back to you.
Because it's clamped down, alright.
I imagine if he like has a spin, how's the ironing board gonna? You know, if it's not the sturdiest of things, is it? Do you know what I mean? An ironing board, so it might.
Yeah.
If he's
true.
in a fight and he's moving his wheel around a lot, and the ironing board like sliding all over the place, he might find it a bit.
Is it a big TV? You could put the TV on the ironing board to kind of weigh it down a bit.
I don't know how big TV is. Although we've got a few commentary lines though. He's ironing out the creases.
Oh my god, I can't wait for this. I'll let you say that one because you made that one. Oh shit.
Okay, right, let's go media.
I've already come up with a few I'm gonna use.
All right.
I've got some locked away in my head. I know I'm going to use them now.
Oh, right, not quite live yet. Okay. Hello and welcome to Simplay Motorsport, and welcome to the Pro-Am category for tonight. Glad to have you all with us. The title decider in this one, then it's going to be an absolutely fascinating one. Who will take the glory here in the Pro Championship? I'm Matthew Duffin, and as always joining the commentary box by my fellow colleague Andy. Andy, good evening.
Good evening, Matt. Good to be here for the Pro Series tonight. The finale of the season. Gary looking pretty good for the championship in this one. He's got a commanding lead at the top of the standings, but he's got a little bit of not the ideal separation to this one tonight. Matt, what exactly has happened tonight?
So Gary's had a power cut in the
Chip award there. It's got to go to Little Leach.
It really has, and we'll hope to see these guys do what they do best and take the fight to everybody else. As always, could be a cracking night to race in here. Don't forget the relegation is up for this spots as well. Now the admins and I have been deciding that we are going to do relegation from when the 4 newcomers joined the series, so Emo, Guy Fieri on Ortho Dubs and D Biggs joined the series, which was back at Spa. So the points are going to be taken from results from Spa, and that will determine the relegation positions, which at the moment will see Monkey Boy and Dean Wysocki drop down into the Pro-Am category. Both the Acoras then will drop down in this one so far. But enough of that one. We hope to see they can get themselves back up there and working well, and getting some good results. Emo Guy, he looks like he's doing some bits, so can we see him take the glory? What will we see today?
Oh, this is definitely throwing Emo Guy and Fury a bit of a lifeline. Now, having said that, Fury is in the session. Driving in, obviously, a car that he's not a big fan of. We know he pretty much hates this Nissan GTR. He's been having to drag it around for the whole of this season, pretty much due to his teammate Emo Guy wanting to compete in it. So Fury definitely will be pretty chuffed with that little alteration to the rules. For this final round, because that essentially means that he will be staying up in this pro category. He's still going to do the business tonight. I'm sure that Monkey Boy and Dean Wisocki both going to be on their absolute A game to try and prevent that from happening.
Indeed, I reckon they will be. Apologies about the stream at the moment. It is buffering quite a bit actually on at the end of the stream through the PSN, so I'm not quite sure if there is a bit of a PSN problem as well internet wise, because we was fine last night, but the PSN seems to be a bit buffery on the stream today, so apologies about that one. And we'll just have to bear with for the time being, and hopefully we'll get that back up and running as quick as possible. But it's going to be a cracking night of racing, Andy. Yeah, it really is. It's going to be a cracking running as quick as possible. But it's going to be a cracking night of racing, Andy. Yeah, it really is. It's going to be a cracking night of racing though, Andy. We've got some fantastic drivers on this grid, and we've got a really good group of guys who's up for a title fight and a title scrap in this one.
Yeah, we have. We know that Gary's going to be wanting to defend that big and it'll leave both with not so great chances of winning the championship.
I just realized I've built walls a mile high to protect my heart, but now I'm all alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been so scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick I built these walls. Now I know that I am strong. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love?
To try and cement second in the championship. So
that's a risk though, because Sutty, if Gary lets Little Leaf fast, lets him in front of him, then Sutty's going to go on and win the race.
Exactly, that's the problem. Exactly, that's the problem. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen. I think we have this one sorted. I think we've got it figured out now. It seems to be running now. It seems to be running better. A lot is better. Doesn't seem to be lagging anymore. Sorry, go on, Andy. Sorry, go on, Andy.
Because they were, while you guys were away, I managed to Gary there, move up Gary there, move up 3 tenths of a second now off Sutty's time. Two championship contenders currently showing the way, a little bit of the rest of the field at the moment, but Gary suffering from obvious connection issues. Obviously, he's racing at his brother Little Leach's house tonight. He will be getting second fiddle in terms of internet bandwidth. So it could be a tricky night for Gary in terms of internet speed. He's currently improved his lap time there by 1/10 of a second. He's currently sat in second at the moment in this qualifying session. So he's got the pace, but anything can happen here, especially with the internet not being as reliable as he would want it to be. And it looks like
look at that.
We're getting very mixed signals about what Gary's actually doing on the track. But I believe he did lose the control of the car there.
Just want to say one thing. People may have noticed that in the chat there is no Bethany Duffin tonight. She just want to wish her all the best, and if she is watching, Beth, we hope to get you back home as soon as possible from the hospital. It's not the same way out here on the chat cheering Gary on, and I'm sure Gary's feeling the effects of that. That might be why his internet's lagging out. He's not got his usual fan base backing him up and powering him along. Tell you what, he needs to iron out his internet connection. That's the thing.
That's it.
It's not the best one. That wasn't a good one. I could have done better there. The iron jokes aren't going to stop.
I'm keeping my cards close to my chest. You've got to time them at the right moment. When he's got a spin or done something really, really bad, then you've got to bring them out.
Stream isn't lagging, but there is two of Andy. Yeah, that's my bad. I left the internet open on the PC, so that might be why you've heard Andy twice. Everything should be fine now. It is closed down, so everything should be okay.
One me's bad enough. Jeez.
I know, two Andy's making a prediction. Holy. Although you've not been so bad recently, Andy. You've not been so bad recently.
No, the problem is now with Dan and nobody else. It's the unorthodox always gets the cursed predictions nowadays. I seem to get away with it for the time being.
Also, a big shout out to Unorthodox. We hope to see you back here soon, buddy. Not feeling the best at the moment, so we hope to see Unorthodox back as soon as possible. Obviously, he'll be here next season teaming up with Fury. Provided Fury can stay up, obviously. You're teaming up with Emo Guy next season. Sutty's teaming up with Phil. We know G's teaming up with Peaceful Explosion. Gary and Little Each are staying as a team. So there's a lot of teams coming together now for next season that's starting to make the grid take shape a little bit.
It is. Also myself and Emo Guy will be teaming up in the Lamborghini. Did you mention that one?
I did.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out on the grid with these pro guys. I've been watching them for a while now and studying how each one of them drives, so it will give me an idea of what I'm coming into. But it's not going to be easy. I mean, the standard of driving in this GT3 Pro Series here at Simplay Motorsport is honestly on another level, and I'm looking forward to the challenge, but I'm a little bit wary.
Yeah, it's going to be brilliant to have you. Miss you in the commentary box, but it'll be brilliant to have you on the track as well. I'll tell you what, this qualifying session is very, very close between the two championship leaders, and this is why they're in for this fight tonight. 2/10 separate Gary and Sutty, with Phil currently P3 a second back. Little Each is now up into 4th place. Peaceful still 5th, AH 6th. Just behind them is D-Biggs. Emo Guy and Fury kind of running mid-pack in that Nissan GTR. In 8th and 9th. Monkey Boy's 10th with Argent down in P11. Argent not able to get much testing this week. He's had a busy week as Kieran Argent. He's a photographer for Canvey Island Football Club. Obviously played in the second round of the FA Cup on Monday night. Unfortunately lost to Boreham Wood at home, but what a night that would be. Good amount of money for a non-league club, and Kieran, the man who was the photographer at that game there, so he's not been able to get the practice in with obviously commitments there. He's behind Monkey Boy on track, and that's he's behind Monkey Boy in the stand as well. Keegs down in P12. It's unusual to see Keegs down in P12, Andy. He's obviously normally partnered by Mazda, but struggling so far tonight, and he's down currently P12 at the moment.
Yeah, it's surprising. Maybe he hasn't really had a chance to do his homework on the track or really get something figured out around here, but currently, let's see what he can get up to here. He will have a bit of a tow from the car in front as he comes up towards the line, but I think he's going to have to improve a lot if he wants to get in the mix, but he's currently stays P12 with that particular lap. Yeah, it's surprising. We had Keegs on the mic last week for the race at Algarve, and he said over that one he wasn't really expecting much from it. In the end, he had a bit of a mare last week at Algarve, so I would have thought he'd be out here with a point to prove, but thus far we're not really seeing the Keegs that we've seen throughout most of this season.
No, we're not, and something to be announced to do with Keegs and a team next year. Not going to say what. I obviously know what. I'm going to wait for them guys to announce it themselves. They're not ready to announce it yet. Details haven't been confirmed all the way so far. But at the moment, Keegs, without a teammate, obviously talks ongoing with certain drivers for next season, and a potential name change. Also, I seen Kieran Argent put a post out in the Simplay Motorsport group last night, a bit of an advertising. Apparently G and Peaceful are running like a junior team, and Kieran is going to be part of that junior team, and he's looking for a teammate in the Pro-Am series. So if anybody from the Pro-Am's watching and wants to get in touch with Kieran Argent over a Pro-Am deal to drive as the junior team towards G and Peaceful Explosion, don't hesitate but to message Kieran Argent there. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. Yes, so don't hesitate to message Kieran Argent, who's just moved up into the top 10 then, and has gone into the pit, so doesn't feel like he can improve. Fury down to 11th, can't improve neither. Monkey Boy's up to 8th.
AH up into 3rd place there,
yeah.
very solid lap time there. 0.6 of a second off of that fastest time currently being set by Sutty, so he's really got that BMW flying out there at the moment, unlike Keegs, who seems to be struggling a little bit at the moment. Let's see what Keegs can do as he comes out around the last corner now. Can Iron Brew Racing get a driver up into the top half of the field here as it comes over the line? It looks like it was a slight improvement, but not enough to move himself up the order. Stays P12 at the moment.
It was. Kieran Argent's come back out of the pits, not quite sure why. I don't think he's going to get another timing from here, but we'll have to see what everybody else can do.
Oh, Kieran Argent getting very loose there coming out of turn 3. Almost putting it into the barrier, just about gathering it together there, but
yeah,
that was living dangerously there from Kieran Argent.
He came out of the pits with a 1 minute 30 odd to go, so I don't quite sure know why he's pitted. Phil, AH, Peaceful, Argent and Fury all in the pit lane at the moment so far. Smithy in chat. Smithy, if you've not heard, I know you're a massive Little Leach fan, Gary racing on the ironing board in Little Leach's front room. So I'm sure, obviously Smithy, you know Little Leach quite well. I'm sure you'll be making sure Gary doesn't do as well on the ironing board. But we'll have to wait to see. Plenty of drivers pitting at the moment. This man though still out on track. We'll get another lap in after this as well. Does he improve this time around? He's 2/10 up on, over Gary at the moment, and it stays to 2/10. Dean Wisocki crosses the line and stays P13, and Monkey Boy crosses the line and stays 8th at the moment, but they will get one more run. This man Gary still quite laggy at the moment, Andy, and that is a worry. We've seen all season in the Pro-Am series with Jamie Brazier lagging as much as he has, led to disconnections. This man will not need... Oh, as he span around there.
Yeah, Gary just getting way out of shape there. You see lighting those rear tyres up absolutely horribly. He's brought it into the pits, so Sutty Apex is going to try and rub salt in the wounds here. AH and Phil both in the pits. Little Leach, can he put himself in the mix here? Gary's brother will be wanting to try and help Gary out and take some points off of Sutty Apex. Gary needs somebody to get in between them. Well, Gary would ideally want to be ahead of him if he can, but Little Leach coming up towards the line now. What's he going to be able to do here on his final flying run of the session here? He comes over the line now, and it is... doesn't look like he improved that last time around.
The two Akoras battling on track for qualifying here. I'm not sure if Dean's defending from Monkey Boy or what, but not helping each other out if they're going to trip up each other. That is not what they wanted to do at all. These two need an improvement. Dean currently 3.2 down and needs a good 0.8 of a second if he's going to out-qualify Keegs. Monkey Boy doing well up in P8, only needs a couple of attempts to move up into the top 5. And that's not without the realms of impossibility at the moment. Let's see what these two can do.
Going to try and latch onto the toe here if he can. I wonder if Dean Wisocki's held Monkey Boy up a little bit on this particular lap. See the light there from Dean. We're coming up towards the line now. Monkey Boy currently doing a great job in this qualifying session, but it looks like he couldn't improve that last time around, so that is that for the qualifying session. It's going to be Sutty starting this one on pole position ahead of Gary. 26 points is the margin he's got to overhaul on Gary, but it's going to be an incredible task here for Sutty Apex, and he needs Gary to pretty much have a total mare in one of these races in order to take that championship. But a good qualifying session there from AH and Phil. Little HP Explosion completing the top 6 there.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Monkey Boy. P8, what a lap time that is from him. He's got work to do. He knows if he's to stay up, so he knows what he's got to do, and he's already put himself in a good position over Emo Guy and Fury at the moment. But he needs to gain a lot of points so far. He's got a lot of work to do if he is to stay up on that one. There then. But right now, Gary's just commented saying the iron board is very different I can imagine it is, Gary. I can imagine that sliding all over the place in your armchair as well. I bet the chair doesn't help. You know, you talk about the ironing board, Andy, but obviously comfort's a major key. Now, I'm not saying an armchair is uncomfortable, but just the shape of it's not going to feel right if you're not used to sitting in something like that.
No, absolutely not. I think for most people driving, well, sim racing, I've got just a wooden chair. I mean, I move my computer chair to one side for racing because I find it moves around too much when you're driving, and you need something that's fixed in position. So it's, I don't know what sort of nature of armchair this armchair is for Gary, but it's going to not be easy. I'm absolutely certain of that. Also, the connection issues that he's been having, we've seen him lagging a little bit. You know, if that internet bottoms out for even just the smallest amount of time, that could kick him out of the session, and that will be advantage Sutty in terms of the championship. So I'm sure Gary's going to be hoping and praying that none of these issues do actually come to the fore and he can have a clean race. And I'm sure he'll be pretty happy with just following Sutty home in this one.
I think I think he will be, to be fair. I think he'll be more than happy to just follow Sutty home. Obviously keeping the points as close to Sutty as possible, but Sutty's teammate Phil is up there in this one, Andy, and he's going to make life difficult for him in terms of not letting him get away and score points, and not letting Gary get away and score points, should I say. It's going to be very, very difficult for him to do that.
But Phil's going to want to get the best possible start. If Gary gets a poor start and Phil gets a flyer, then he could find himself up ahead of Gary, and he could cause Gary problems. I'm not saying he's going to crash into him or do anything dirty, but if he gets into Gary's head and Gary starts trying to be aggressive, trying to force the moves, then that could spell all sorts of problems for Gary, and all of a sudden Sutty gains a load of points in this race 1. With race 2 still coming up, you get 25 points for first, 20 for second, and 15 for third, so there is a big gulf in points between the top 3. But we're about to go racing here at Imola for the final round of the season, race 1 of the night, race 1 of 2. Here we go, Sutty Apex on the left hand side, putting his lights on straight away. So that's Gary putting his lights on, and then we're lights out and we're underway, and it's a good start there from our pole man Sutty Apex, and likewise Gary as well. Both the top 2 get away very nicely. It looks like Phil's got AH up the inside there, and Phil's been passed by Little Leech coming up towards turn 1. There's Peaceful Explosion running in P6. Monkey Boy's made a good start up into 7th place on the outside of Imo. It looks like Kieran Argent getting a little bit bogged down there, and he's down to 9th place. Dean Wasocki, Fury, Keegs, and G at the back of the field, who was making a move there on Keegs up into 12.
He has, and that's one of the Nissans round. One of the Nissans, it's Fury who's round. Oh, no. Not the start he would have wanted at all. Gary's out front, a great start from him. AH as well got a good start. Phil did not get off that line well, and look at Little Leach trying to pressure Phil here to try and get on the back of him and maybe help his teammate and brother up front. But so far, it's Keegs and Fury at the back of the pack. Bit of a poor start for them. Dean Wasocki as well didn't get away too great. He's got G pressuring him at the moment. But I tell you what, it's a good start for Gary. 131, that's Kieran Argent took the inside of Monkey Boy, and a good job.
Great stuff there from Kieran Argent, but it looks like, oh, Monkey Boy's got loose, and he's into the barriers there. Careful everybody, it looks like everybody gets around him just about, but Monkey Boy just got a little bit too heavy onto the loud pedal there. Coming out of the corner, it's a tricky one to get right. It's very easy to overstep track limits. I think he was trying to give a bit too much consideration to Kieran Argent on his outside, ended up taking too tight of a radius on the exit of the corner, and that is what happens there. That is the consequences. Currently Gary has got himself up ahead of Sutty here, so this is crucial. Sutty Apex is going to be absolutely seething inside that cockpit now. He can see the man who he's got to overhaul in the championship currently ahead of him on the track. Gary says that the ironing board is quite a tricky one to get right, but it looks like he's doing exactly what you said he needed to do, Matt, which is...
Yeah, he's doing the job exactly what he needs to do. He's getting out front.
Iron out the creases.
Yeah, he is definitely ironing out the creases. He's out front, 0.4 of a second ahead of this man. AH and Little Each just behind. Sutty knows he's got to do it. We've seen a few Sutty safeties recently, but he knows now he's got to make the send it. He's got to gain places. Emo guy's on the back of Phil. Emo guy having a very good first lap. Gary's got damage on the front of that car, though. Quite a bit of damage to the front left, and he's very wide there. Is this lag just causing him too much of a problem?
Yeah, that was just lag there, because he didn't go wide at all. You could see by the way he was obviously kept going as it was, but looks like he's having to defend now from Sutty. Sutty's surely going to be playing the Sutty safety here, because he doesn't know where Gary is.
Yeah, that's surely going to have to be the... That has got to be the case at the moment, Andy, sorry.
No, so, it's...
Phil!
Getting tagged a little bit. Phil and Emo guys coming together, and Peaceful Explosion. No, G, not Phil, Peaceful Explosion. That was G running into the back of them. He had nowhere to go. But that's Phil and Emo guy down.
What happened to Little Leech? Little Leach just dropped down till 7th. He was behind AH earlier. He's now down in 7th place, so I'm not quite sure what happened to Little Leach. Gap out front is only a 10th of a second. In fact, Sutty leads. Sutty's in the lead of this race, and he's taken control of this one from Gary 131 at the moment. And I tell you what, this could be fascinating in the championship battle. 5 points the difference, plus fastest lap could be 6. It's not enough for Sutty to win it, but Gary has got to keep that lag under control.
He absolutely has. It looks like we've also got Fury here. He's managed to... he's still just holding... He's just ahead of Keegs at the moment. These guys battling over the final top 10 spot. But Sutty and Gary going at it here. Sutty needs to finish in front of Gary. In fact, ideally, he wants somebody to get in between them. In fact, more than one driver. He needs a few people to get in the way. But AH is currently following these guys around. The only driver out there at the moment who appears to be in the same league as these top two. But Sutty Apex, crucially there, will be gaining points on his championship rival. Not enough to really pose a threat to him in race 2, but at least it's a start, at least it's something. The last thing he needs is for Gary to be sealing the deal and winning the championship before he even gets to race 2. Oh, it's Gary, there's a big tank stopper on there! Coming in between turns 2 and 3, almost losing the car though, he just about kept onto it. You see he's got some damage on the right hand side of that car there, that right headlight has gone out, so he's making it very clear by having his headlights on. You wouldn't want to really show weakness to the other guys out on track, but he's definitely doing that at the moment. He's making it very clear that he's got damage on the right hand side of that car. Could that be affecting him right now? Could Gary be in trouble here in this race with that small bit of damage on the right hand side of that car?
I'll tell you something.
This quite serious for Gary.
It's really turning into a nightmare for Gary at the moment. What a drive though from Kieran Argent at the moment, up to 5th place from 10th off the start line, 3 laps in, and we've got 3 Mercedes in a row. The team for next year, if you will. Kieran obviously being part of the junior team, AH having a look on Gary there, and G and Peaceful pretty much together as well. Phil and Monkey Boy have pitted. They must have had some serious damage. Emo Guy's still 8th, Fury's in 9th, so they're doing what they need to do. Poor old Phil had such a good qualifying as well, and it's just gone horribly wrong for him so far.
Yeah, it really has. There he comes on the exit of the pits now, but Dean Wasocki also bringing it into the pits for his mandatory pit stop as well. There you can see Monkey Boy moving up into P12, but Monkey Boy has had a disaster of a start to this race. He qualified up in 8th place. He made a good start coming into turn 1, but it's all gone horribly wrong for him. It looks very much at this point like Monkey Boy is going to be facing the drop down to the Pro-Am Series at the end of the season. Oh, he gets delivered up to the grass. He turns it around. Monkey Boy's off the track and he gets it, points in the right direction once again. But this race has turned. It's gone from bad to worse for him.
Indeed it has. It's not the night he'd have wanted here. I'm sure he can't wait to get out of this Acura. Dean Wasocki in the pits as well, so he must have had bad damage because the pit window doesn't open until lap 4. But I'm sure that Monkey Boy cannot wait to get out of this Acura. It has been a nightmare of a car for him at the moment. Dean had no rear wing, says Jamie Brazier. Keegs as well is in the pits in the end of lap 3. So damage for all these guys so far at the front. It's not been the start these guys have wanted, and there goes AH!
He's done it! He's up into P2 there. Gary left the door wide open. Didn't fight that one too hard. More signs maybe that Gary has got a little bit of damage on that car. Although he's fighting back here coming up the hill. Is he going to try and make the move on the brakes? No, he doesn't. He thinks better of that one. Sensible driving there from Gary. He knows that 2 third places tonight would get him the championship. He doesn't need to push too hard. He's got 6 seconds back to Peaceful Explosion. He just needs to keep doing what he's doing. But it's easier said than done, especially when your car is twitching one way to the other and you can't hold it in a straight line. You've got to hold the wheel at an angle in order to make sure that the car actually stays going exactly where you want it to. So it's going to be tricky for Gary, and obviously driving with an ironing board. Let's hope that he's got arms of iron, because he will definitely need them.
We're
that car straight.
Lads, we're here all night, don't worry. Lads and ladies, we're here all night with the iron jokes. Gary will not live this one down, and I'm sure he'll not want to live it down as well. He'll not want his ironing board to collapse on him. That would just be... Could you imagine if you sat on the chair and the ironing board just dropped on you? That would be absolutely unbelievable if that was the case. But for
if he spins round and goes to correct it, and then he literally... the ironing board just jumps up in the air with him or something like that, you know, it could
anything could happen to him here. Anything could happen to him here. I tell you what he needs to do though is Little Leach needs to get some ironing down and take full advantage of Gary being there to get it done for him, because why not? Get the clothes ironed, Gary, while you're there. 4 seconds behind Sooty Apex. 3 seconds is AH behind Sooty Apex at the moment. Sooty's doing the job he needs to do so far, Andy. He's not putting a foot wrong, and he's doing exactly everything he needs to do. Gary was a second slower than Peaceful last lap as well, so keep your eyes out for Peaceful gaining on Gary 131. That could be an interesting fight. Little Leach has got himself up ahead of the only G. There's Emo Guy. We've seen him have a bit of a spin earlier with G tapping him in the rear. So that's going to be one to keep an eye on. Is G. Oh, there's Fury!
Oh no! Fury gets well out of shape there, puts it into the barriers. And well, it looks like he's a long way ahead of Phil, because Phil, Keegs, Monkey Boy and Dean have already been into the pits. But Fury's really struggling here, and this is not what he needs. Obviously, with the guys who are challenging him for survival in this Pro Series, Monkey Boy and Dean way back down the field in 12th and 13th place. So Fury can take solace from that, but that's definitely not what he would have wanted here.
Don't forget though, Andy, Fury has to pit yet as well, so you know he's still got a long way to go. Yeah. And if he keeps making mistakes like that, that could cost him. I know he's not a big lover of the Nissan GTR though. He actually entered in the Lamborghini and then chased the GTR to partner up with Emo Guy. Sorry, so I know he's not the biggest lover of him. But we'll see what happens. Monkey Boy about to be lapped by Sooty Apex, who's extended that gap even further at the moment in the 46.2s. Now just a flash of the lights there for Monkey Boy to let him know he's coming. He's now dropped into the 45s. So what pace we're seeing here from Sooty Apex. Cruising at the moment. Gary's got himself in the 46, a tenth quicker than AH last time around. So Gary answering back to his bad lap before with a good time there. Monkey Boy actually gaining on Keys with the looks of things there.
Yeah, it does appear so. Sooty there putting a lap on Monkey Boy. No issues there, but he's got 6 seconds back to AH at the moment, who have made that move on Gary.
Oh!
Gary's trying to fight back though. Oh, there's a little bit of squeeze there as AH tries to hold on to the position. The damage on Gary's car clearly not affecting him too much, because he's still managing to give a good fight of this. He must be counteracting every single motion on that car. The suspension must be going another way, his hands must be going the opposite. And at the moment, AH flashing his lights there. Maybe a bit of a token of respect for that little incident they had there.
Yeah, maybe a bit unhappy with the tap he received from Gary on the back. Peaceful Explosion's just kind of dropping off the back of this battle at the moment. He'll want to try and gain on Gary while Gary has that damage. Take full advantage of him as I thought he made a mistake there, but he was actually lagging. Emo Guy's just coming out of the pits. So he's only lost out to Fury at the moment. Emo Guy comes out the pit lane then. There is Fury, the two Nissan GTRs. Pack spread out just a little bit here. Little Leach has got past Kieran Argent. In fact, Argent's now fighting from Little Leach. G's got past the both of them. He's well up the road. So if these two had a bit of an incident, but Argent just running a little wide there, and Little Leach gets a good run up the hill and towards the chicane they go now. Here comes Little Leach, and he's gonna be. Is he going to have the momentum? He's going to have the inside line, but Kieran will not fight this, not give this one up easy, and he makes that one look relatively easy. Does Little Leach up the inside, and Kieran doesn't fight hard for that one. It's a tight chicane, is that? It's not. You've got to defend it early, knowing that you can have the inside line. The other car should back out. Kieran was helpless there.
Yeah, he was. Oh, Kieran Argent going for a late move up the inside, coming into the final hairpin, and Little Leach thankfully sees that one coming and perfectly executes the undercut on the exit of the corner, back up into P6. G's in the pits from P5 by the looks of it. Looks like Gary's got back out ahead of AH here, and AH has had a problem by the looks of it.
Yeah, it looks like he's only just got going. That is a strange one there. I wonder if them two came together a little bit. We saw them rubbing earlier. I wonder if they came together or if AH has just made a mistake. You don't normally see AH make them mistakes. Keegs is on. Keegs having to defend from Monkey Boy according to the timing screens, but so's Little Leach on Kieran Argent. Oh, Kieran really up over the curbs here. Loses a lot of time. Fury as well is in the pits.
Yeah, G has obviously made good progress since not the easiest of starts to the race. He has to come and do it he has to do it the hard way from the back in this GT3 Pro Series here at Simplay. He's never finds it too easy, because obviously coming from the back with a field full of very skilled drivers is never going to be a simple task. Next season he'll be able to race properly amongst these guys, but he's made decent progress here up into P7. He's already been in the pits, I believe, as well as G.
Yeah, he's just come out the pit, so he's doing really well.
Yeah,
he's G at the moment, and we hope that hope he has another good race here. He's done really well since coming in. Gary, 8 seconds behind Sooty Apex at the moment. Can he gain on that? AH is trying to make up the ground he lost to Gary earlier on. We're not sure what quite happened there. Oh, Fury's just put the pit crew's lost a wheel nut, so that's not what he'd wanted. Phil has passed him. He's coming out the pits now. He's a lap down to Sooty Apex. Sooty Apex still to pit, though, don't forget. There's Phil lapping Dean Wasocki. Kieran Argent can't race on. Peaceful Explosion's coming into the pits now. So an interesting time for Peaceful to pit. Gary, I tell you what, the lag at times makes it look like Gary's made a mistake, Andy, but he hasn't. Oh, AH has though. AH has made a mistake. He's really been that one, and he's now lit up the rear wheels as he uses the reset button to get away. AH has been that there, so another mistake from him. And Gary just looks like he's tiptoeing at times, but that could be the connection issues.
Yeah, it could very well be at the moment. He's dropping that back a little bit off of Sooty Apex, but that could be down to the damage that he's got on the right front of that car, because as you can see the headlights gone out, so he's obviously had a hefty whack with the walls somewhere out there. Sooty Apex currently doing what he has to do, but with Gary sat in second, he will not gain the points that he would want to be gaining in this race 1. He's got it all to do in race 2. Obviously both of them will be starting at the back as it stands, being in the top 5, but it's not going to be easy for Sooty to try and overhaul that point standing. Gary knows he needs to get a couple of podiums in the bag tonight, and he will be bringing home the championship.
And the other thing as well, Andy,
here at Simplay,
is with all this lag, he's got to make sure he completes lap 12 to score points, otherwise he's not going to score a point. So if the lag gets any worse, Gary could struggle for a point at the moment. He's got to make sure he can get that extra point, make sure he scores them points that he needs to at the moment. That looked like Keegs had made a mistake coming into the final hairpin. Indeed he has. There he is, look, P11 at the moment, and doing the job he needs to over the two Akoras. Gary's now going to come into the pits at the end of lap 7.
Yeah, there he comes. So he obviously needs to try something. Presumably he's going to be repairing the damage on the car, because he's losing about a second a lap at the moment to what the pace that we expected from him. Lapping in the 1 minute 47s, his title rival Sooty currently in the 145s. So Gary needs to try something in order to stop losing so much time to him at the moment. But AH up into P2, having made that spin at this very corner a couple of laps ago, he seems to have it all nailed down for the time being. He's coming up on what looks to be Monkey Boy as well there, so he's going to have to obviously contend with that. But I'm sure Monkey Boy is going to be dealing with AH in the utmost respect at the moment. Little Leach sat in 3-3, just 11 seconds behind AH on the track. Looks like Kieran Argent's brought it into the pits as well here. That's released G up into P5. G's actually pretty close to Gary as well, Matt. G has done bits in this race.
G's doing absolutely fantastic in this one, Andy, and he's, like you say, 4 or 5 seconds off the back of Gary 131, and I'm sure Gary will want as nice a race as possible and as quiet a race as possible, not want to be fighting other people. Can G cause Gary a bit of disruption here? That is the question. Sooty AH and Little Leach still to pit, as is...
Oh, G's lost it! G's feeling the pressure here, he's just binned it there. Coming out of turn 4, and where is Peaceful Explosion? His next season's teammate is going to get a glimpse of G definitely not doing what he does best there.
No, that was a strange one, CG. I was just literally looking at my notes to see who's got to pit, and it is just the top 3 as G binned it there, so I'm glad you caught that one. But this is interesting. G showing glimpses of what he's got, but also not showing the best of what he's got as well. Monkey Boy's got past Keegs, so as Keegs had another mistake somewhere, not quite sure about that one. Keegs must have been off because he wasn't in sight of AH and Monkey Boy earlier. Now he's behind Monkey Boy and AH. AH looks like he's got past Monkey Boy as well and isn't pitting this time around. Gary is 47 seconds behind Sooty Apex, so he has a long way to go at the minute to catch him. But Sooty Apex has got to pit. Little Leach is in the pits now. So is Little Leach going to be in and out before Gary 131 there? Let's wait and see. I don't think he will be. Gary's coming down towards the hairpin as Little Leach is coming into the pit lane now. So Gary should reclaim P3 at least. He will do easily. But it's all about how can Gary keep going, and can he gain on? Can he get that undercut on AH, or will AH manage to get the overcut on Gary 131? That'll be the question. AH lapping in the 46s, same as the race leader. Gary's outlap was a 51.5, so it's about 30 seconds of pit stop we reckon here for a splash and dash. I think was what we were kind of seeing last night, Andy. So Gary at the moment to AH is about that 30-second mark, so it'll be close between them two as he come out, as AH will come out the pits in a couple of laps time. Yeah,
that's it. Well, AH was right up the chuff of Gary before he had that spin a couple of the laps to go. Gary then went into the pits, so at this point I reckon Gary's probably got a slight upper hand in that battle, but it can swing back and forth just like that. So I would say Gary, most likely at the moment, would come out ahead of AH, because I think it's usually around 30, 35. I think it's close to 35 from 30, so it's going to be incredibly close. But as you can see there on this lap so far, Gary's actually closed the gap to AH. It's now down to 28 seconds, so presumably AH with some kind of mistake, possibly an excursion onto the gravel, grass or outside area of the track.
Yeah, not the best of races. I thought AH would be one to dominate tonight in the dry weather, like he did at Red Bull Ring earlier this season. But we've not seen that dominance from him. We saw him have good pace as well at the dry race at Fuji. The wet races here that Simplay love have provided difficult times for that BMW. And I think that the BMW in the dry is probably one of the better cars on the grid, especially with a good driver like AH behind the wheel. And look at that lag from Gary there. That is big lag from him coming through the final corner. He's really got work to do. What lap time is he going to do here to see if he has pulled time back? Although it looks to me like he's actually lost a lot of time. He's now 49 seconds off the leader and is exactly 30 seconds behind AH. Yeah, what
is going on there?
Big lag.
Goodness.
Big lag.
Oh man, is he going to drop out of the set? It looks like this is the type of lag that we see when somebody's about to say see you later.
The last time I saw somebody in the wall like that was me and Keegs covered Jamie Brazier in the wall qualifying at Monza. Did exactly that. For a few moments later him to lag. Hopefully that isn't the case for Gary, wanting to obviously finish and make this championship fight brilliant. It'll be even better if he didn't score any points. So Andy, wouldn't it, for us in the commentary box, because it'd be all gloves off for the second race.
Obviously we can't comment on that for the commentators, Matt.
No, I know. It would be brilliant for us though. Everybody bar AH is now pitted. When does AH decide to pull the trigger on that one? Now we're seeing obviously the effects of Gary's damage here. Now he's got no headlights on the front right of that car. The bodywork damage looks even worse. I wonder how his car actually feels, because to us the front end looks mashed up, mangled, horrible. I wonder how he's finding the car at the moment driving it. Obviously he may not have suffered that damage that we're seeing on screen with him being in the wall. So I'm wondering how he's feeling in this car.
I don't know if he actually tripped the wall, did he? I know that he went off this corner. I'm not sure if he did make contact with the wall. It was close. But if he has got damage on that car, then yeah, you're right. He's coping with it very nicely. He's flashing his lights there. You can see a Nissan GTR taking its time, getting out of the way there. That definitely wouldn't have helped him much. I thought that was fury there. But he's obviously staying out, so he doesn't appear to have too much.
No, it's not about Gary. I was on about with the lag, obviously, with the lag of Gary, we see the cars mashed up, mangled front end. How is?
No, sorry, yeah, no, Gary, of course. I don't think he's going to actually be impeded at all, because if maybe what we're seeing there with that right front headlight being out, that could have just been down to contact with the wall on our side, as you say. I think that's what you're referring to there.
Yeah.
So on his screen, yeah, potentially he hasn't made any contact with the wall and he's not incurred any damage at all. That's a good point. I don't know.
Well, he's got to finish this lap and he'll score a couple of points at least. Even if he doesn't finish this one, he'll score points.
I mean, the thing is, his pace is a little bit off though, because Gary's been lapping in the 47s, 48s in this race, and we've come to expect Gary to. I mean, we saw from qualifying, he was in the 44s. He's been lapping in the 45s since the get-go, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if Gary has got some kind of damage on that car. Maybe it's not extensive, but it's definitely got something wrong with that car.
AH is in the pits now, so this is the crucial time. Will he be able to get in and out before Gary 131 can get round to the start line? Sooty Apex will retake this lead. There goes Monkey Boy unlapping himself from AH. There goes Keegs as well, unlapping himself. There is the man at the moment who's not put a foot wrong, Andy. He's doing everything he needs to do to win this title.
He is. He's driven absolutely superbly tonight. Really has. He hasn't put a foot wrong. He's done everything he personally could do. Oh, I say that! Oh my goodness! Get the Apex down, losing the back end of the car. Oh my goodness!
You couldn't make this up with the commentator's curse. You could not make it up, honestly.
It's like as soon as you start bigging somebody up, they're basically doomed. And we see there that's Gary's come out just ahead of AH there. So
good pick, good laps from Gary.
But yeah, just as I said, Asati Apex has done everything right. You know, since obviously, yeah, true. He's gone into this race a few points adrift of Gary due to maybe not having had the consistency that Gary's had, but he's given himself every chance and done everything right tonight, apart from that moment there, and he really has driven superbly. So, yeah, hats off. Couldn't have done it any better.
He really couldn't. Sutty actually missed the Red Bull Ring. We had Welsh in as a driver to cover for Sutty Apex, who missed 4 rounds due to work. One was obviously a drop score of 0, and the other he asked if he could get someone in as a wild card entry, which he got Welsh in from the Pro-Am. Obviously no slouch in the Lamborghini, but Welsh was only allowed to score half points, and he only come home with 14 points in the night, so he only scored 7 for Sutty. So that's a round that obviously Sutty missed a lot of points out on, but at the moment he's doing what he needs to do. I'm just looking at the lap times, Andy. You've got G, Peaceful, Emo Guy, Argent, Phil, all lapping around or quicker than Gary 131. So they're not a million miles away behind Gary 131 neither. Peaceful's only 10 seconds. I know we're on lap 13 to 16, but if Gary was to have a problem, these guys could be on the back of him come the end of this race, all lapping similar, if not quicker than him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. AH has also been pretty solid tonight. We saw him make a small mistake on the first sector about the midway point through the race, but since then he's really got his act together. You can see now he's got a guy within his sights. G, though, I think he's going to be the main threat here to Gary's P2, potentially. AH and G, because I reckon AH and G could do it on pace alone. Yeah. You know, the others definitely would need Gary to step up, but certainly at the moment AH and G have got the pace on him quite significantly, so I think that we could be seeing these two on the back of him in a couple of laps time. Certainly G, if he can get around AH quickly enough, might be able to get up ahead of Gary into P2, but if Gary were to come third in this race, he would lose 10 points to Sutty. Although if we assume that Sutty's going to take the fastest lap, which I wouldn't be at all surprised if he does, then that would be an 11-point swing in favour of Sutty. Gap going into that last race would be 15 points, so there's definitely Sutty needs some fortune, but he's certainly making his own luck out front at the moment. Gary's got AH within 3 seconds of him now. G is within 5 seconds of Gary. He's within 2 seconds of AH. Question is AH going to be able to hold G off long enough to prevent G's charge? Well, he's currently the fastest man out on track, though. This
is the question. Also, could Gary revel in AH being put under pressure from the only G? By having him under that pressure, AH will have to defend a bit heavier from G than what he'll be able to attack Gary 131. Gary, though, doing a cracking job with the lag and the tricky conditions he's got at the moment. He's certainly in for a good haul of points here. Keeg still hasn't got past Monkey Boy, I've noticed on the timing screens. Little Leach is down in 9th place, so whatever has happened to him since his pit stop hasn't been a great race for Little Leach. This will all but take him out of the running for the title then, and that's a real shame. Leach Motorsport, though, can win the Constructors' title in this first race. I think they possibly will, depending on... they've got to outscore Run Flat Racing by 16 points in this one to take it, to win the Constructors' title. Now, Argent trying to put Phil under some pressure and runs a little wide coming into the final couple of corners. There is Little Leach. Emo Guy running P6. Good haul of points for Emo Guy here.
Yeah, it is, and he's doing what he needs to do. Obviously, he's still on the brink of dropping down to Pro-Am, so he has really done what he's pulled it out of the bag over these last couple of rounds. And I knew he's got good pace at Imola. He raced in our GT3 that Motive earlier in the season, so we know that he's got the talent in those cars. Driving the Nissan GTR, which he drives also in that league as well, so he hasn't had to over prepare. Obviously, he's quite recent in his head as to what he needs to do in this one, but he's currently doing a great job. He's matching the times of AHG and Peaceful up ahead, so it really has been a spectacular performance from Ian, and he's improved as this event's gone on, so maybe you just have to get back in the swing of it.
I tell you something.
And also, Matt, crucially, he's in P6, which means that he will be able to qualify as it stands. Oh yeah, he will, yeah. As it is, he'll be able to set a lap, so...
well, with G not being counted in the score, Emo Guy will be 5th technically on points, won't he?
Oh no!
Meaning that Emo Guy will not be able to qualify or finish just in fifth. But I mean, it's points that'll pull him away from the drop zone even more than what Dean and Monkey Boy are scoring right now. One thing I want to say is look at AHG Peace 4 Emo Guy Phil's last laps compared to Gary's. All in the 46s, Gary in the 47s. As Sutty starts the final lap of this race, Gary could come under some immense pressure here from GNAH on this last lap. And if that's the case, if any incidents were to happen, could you imagine what is going through his head at the moment? Just keep the connection there.
47.4 from Gary that last time around. AH in the 46 is a second quicker. He's 2 seconds behind him on the road, so it's going to take a mistake from Gary for AH to be within striking distance here on this last lap. G has left it a little bit too late. A mistake that coming through the first sector will definitely come back to haunt him.
Yeah, it really will. Guys, if you like what you see here, please give a video a big like and a big subscription if you haven't subscribed already. Helps the channel out no end. Also, head over to our Facebook page if you'd like to get in touch with us for racing. There's a link in the description. The Facebook group is where all the drivers vote on things, or that's where they see the tables. Go to the Facebook page if you want to just see it as a spectator point of view. Also check out motiveracing.com where Andy and myself commentate. Andy, obviously the league owner of Motive Racing, and here comes AH. He's going to go around the outside of Gary 131, and that's second place for AH in the end, and Gary's tapped him in the rear. And I tell you what, Stewart's inquiry maybe at the end of that one, but Gary has tapped the rear of AH there, and Gary has spun him round, and that'll surely be P2. But are the stewards going to take a look at that one?
That definitely looked dodgy there from Gary. I've got to say, he went steaming in there. Is he potentially banking on, now this is obviously I'm trying to get in the mind of Gary here, thinking as a driver myself, is he potentially banking on AH not making an inquiry and letting him off, considering he's in the championship battle? In my thinking of Gary right now, Gary could just be banking on AH, thinking, you know, trying to take an optimistic view of that one.
Yeah.
But Sutty here absolutely showing off.
G's got past Gary. G's got past Gary. AH has got past Gary.
Oh, yeah, that's backed off.
Oh, Gary's gave AH the place then. So Gary has given AH the place, so he's given up second place for AH there. So respect to Gary. Sutty Apex takes the race win. Gary will come home in P3 effectively with G not scoring points. So hats off to Gary there for that one, Andy.
Yeah, in the end he probably figured out that was a little bit of a dodgy move there from himself, so he drops down to P3, obviously with G not scoring points. That means the gap in the championship, well, let's have a look and wait, let's wait for the fastest laps to come up, because then we'll know if Sutty did get that fastest lap. It will help him out if he did. But Peaceful Explosion P5, Ian finishes in 6th place. It's a good performance there from him. I'm sure he's all but safe now in the championship in this Pro Series. Phil 7th. Kieran Argent in 8th, Little Leach has crossed the line in 9th place there. Fury's going to come around to complete the top 10 in a few moments. Pardon me, in a few moments' time. That was a hiccup.
Good points for the Nissan boys tonight. Fury, I know, doesn't like his car and has struggled a bit. Monkey Boy's done as well. Tried to gain on the back of Fury. I don't think that car is going to have the run down to the start line that he'd have wanted, but Fury doing what he needs to stay in the pro group next season. Monkey Boy has a lot of work to do next time around. Keegs will only score points for P11, finishing P12, obviously gaining an extra place there. Then fastest lap of the race, excluding the only G's, is Sutty Apex by 4/10 from his teammate Phil. So the Lamborghini's really on it here, Andy.
Yeah, that really is flying. So Sutty takes that bonus point, which means the gap coming into that final race is now 15 points. So Sutty would basically, let's try and work this one out. So how many points do you get for 4th? No, 5th, sorry, 5th. For
5th, you come away with 11 points. And after that first round, the gap has changed to 15 points in it. So
how many points, how many wins has Sutty got compared to Gary?
I'll tell you now. There's that tab.
After this race,
Sutty has 5 race wins. Gary has 6 after this one.
Race?
Yeah, after that race.
Oh man! So if Sutty were to win the last race and get the fastest lap, Gary were to come 5th. Right, Sutty needs a lot to go right, basically. Gary's in the box seat in this one, pretty much. But it's still race on. I mean, and if the slightest little thing happens to Gary, then Sutty's going to have a great chance of taking the championship. Sutty just needs to do what he did in this race and pretty much drive off. But easier said than done.
It is easier said than done. Gary's just put in the chat saying, I don't think I touched IH in all honesty. I think he lost it under the braking. Oh, it didn't look like that from our point of view. So an interesting one that he gave him the place back then there. Very interesting one, but we're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in a few moments with a few driver interviews. We'll get Gary and Sutty's thoughts on that one as well. So stay where you are. We'll be back in about 5 minutes.
I just realized I've built walls.
So it is easier said than done. Gary's just put in the chat saying,
Have a look back at that. Have a look back at that. AHG and Peaceful off ahead, so it really has been a spectacular performance from him, and he's improved as this event's gone on, so maybe you just have to get back on the swing of it.
I tell you something.
Yeah, he'll be able to qualify, I understand.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He'll be able to settle that, so.
Well, with Gino being counted in the score, Gino guy will be fit technically on points, won't he?
Oh, no.
Meaning that Gino guy will not be able to qualify or finish just in fifth. But I mean, it's points that are pulling away from the drop zone even more than what Dino Monkey.
I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle.
I'm gonna tear down this castle.
Be more sick, couldn't break your heart. Like, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, like, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? I criticized myself for trusting lies. I know I can't hide, 'cause then I'd be alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I'm enough. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle.
I'm gonna tear down this castle.
Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, like, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, like, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love?
Play it so slow. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Play it so slow. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 turn it up. and I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 turn it up I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like, give it to me like, give it to me like.
Lost Gary lagging.
Off of that.
I didn't know where to
Welcome back
overtake
to
when you said
Simplay
that.
Motorsport, and we are live here in the commentary box, joined as you can hear by Sooty Apex and AH. I'm going to start with you first. A great race there, a bit of an incident with Gary 131, but a podium nonetheless. Yeah, did you feel a tap when you lost the rear with Gary there? You've had an up and down season, obviously a few disconnection problems with lag and internet connection and stuff like that. But you've had a good season all in all, solid points across the board when you've been here. And BMW not seemed to be the best in the rain. You seem to really do your business in the drier races. Is that something you're going to look forward to take to next season? Well, best of luck, mate. We hope you have a good one in the race too, and we'll see you later. Best of luck. And Sooty, race win. You've closed the gap to Gary 131 to 15 points. You did everything you needed to do in that one. What can you do in race 2?
Well, it looks like, by the looks of it, I'm going to be starting plumb last. So I think it's just going to be just trying my best to stay out of trouble and get up the field. That's all I can do now. Obviously, Gary, I think he needs to finish 5th to win. So just do my best. Won't give up till the final checker flag.
A nice race win for you in that one. Quite a quiet race, apart from early doors, where you had to try and pass Gary. Obviously, Gary suffering with a bit of lag. Was that difficult to get past him at the time?
Oh, it was difficult. I seen him go right over near the wall, and I thought, right, I'm just going to have to go for it. So I just closed my eyes. And luckily, I was still on the track. Then I looked behind and seen he was battling with the H, and luckily I managed to get a good buff between them.
What are you going to do for race 2? What's your plans?
Just all out. No sooty safeties. Elbows out, nothing to lose. Here we come, boys.
Well, bring it on. Best luck for race 2, mate. Best luck in the title challenge.
Aye, cheers. Thanks very much.
After race 1, Andy, we can confirm that Leach Motorsport have won the constructors' title, and they do take the team's trophy home to their brotherly household at the minute. That can be displayed on the ironing board for sure. Gary obviously defending a 15-point gap from Sooty Apex at the moment. What can he do race 2 that's different?
Oh, brilliant. Well, now that these guys know they've got the constructors wrapped up, and also it's looking pretty likely at this point like Gary's the only Leach brother in the Drivers' Championship. Now little Leach is in a position where he can really put his eggs into defending his brother's lead from Sooty. However, how he's going to do that, I don't know, but I would imagine that if those two are, if Little Leach is in front of Gary coming towards the end on the last lap, potentially maybe Little Leach might make way for him.
Potentially,
I'm not sure about that, but I reckon that's definitely going to be on the cards now. And that makes sense, obviously, with these guys being teammates, brothers. They've been working together throughout the season. They've both been in the hunt right up until this last race. I'm not sure if Little Leach still has a mathematical chance. I think, did he finish in front of Gary in that race just yet?
Little Leach, no, it was only AH and G that beat Gary on the circuit.
Yeah, so
Little Leach finished well down the pack. Yeah, well out of the championship fight now.
So I reckon that Little Leach is definitely going to be playing second fiddle to Gary and trying to give him every chance here in this race. And very crucially for him, he's also going to be able to qualify. He might end up putting this one on pole here in this, but D Biggs is going to surely have something to say about that one. But Little Leach currently doing a pretty good job. If he gets his own way, he'll be at the front towards the beginning of the race. And as Gary, oh, we've got Imo guy in the party.
Yeah, Emo Guy, evening to you. Well, let Andy just finish what you're saying and then we can get to Emo Guy.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that obviously Gary will be hoping that Little Leach will be helping him out as much as he can. Little Leach will be up near the front towards the start of the race, and Little Leach might be able to just put a little bit of effort into helping him. We don't know what's going to happen here, obviously, but it'll be up towards the sharp end to begin with, and he might be able to play some games and let Gary make some quicker progress. Who knows?
Indeed. So, Emo Guy joins us now. Ian, your first top 5 here at Simplay. Good race for yourself.
Yeah, I was. There was a little bit touch and go at the beginning there when I made contact with Phil coming round. I believe it was turn 5 and 6. Then I got tagged by Luigi when he was coming round the corner as well. But I managed to make it. I got my out of the way semi early, and as started making up the places. I was trying my best not to spin it.
Yeah, definitely. Good top 5. That's pulled you away from the relegation scrap. Looking at the points here, you're on 77 points, and the bottom 2 are 58 and 46. So you've really sort of clawed a lot of points back over them two, and look like you're staying up for this one for next season.
Well, I'm definitely happy about that one, and me and Andy will be able to team up and hopefully do some damage.
I hope so. That's not literally hopefully Ian, but yeah, definitely
Yeah.
we'll be able to make some waves in this Pro Series. I want to say big congratulations to you, Ian, actually, for staying up, because obviously you joined halfway through the season. I know that the championship, in terms of staying up in this league, are only being counted by the point that you joined, but you still had a long way to go, obviously, with acclimatising to this league and the very unique weather conditions that we have here at Simplay as well. So,
Yeah, that was
there was a lot of adaptation to be done, and so massive congratulations to you on that one.
Thank you. When it came to the rain, it was definitely a hurdle that I had to get over. Some of it wasn't the best, but I feel like as the races went on, I was developing the car in such a way that I was able to race that little bit better in the rain, but also not enough to gain massive amount of points. But still, I managed to get into a decent position.
Well, you did work brilliantly, mate. We'll let you get back into your chat with Fury and get yourself ready for race 2, buddy. So best luck for that one, and congrats on race 1.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good one.
All the
Cheers,
best,
you
mate.
too, buddy.
Cheers.
And it's testament to what Ian and Fury have done this season, and they came in since round 4 at Spa. They've not been able to do every race between the pair of them. They've scored 149 points as a team. They're near enough. They're only 30 odd points behind Dean and Monkey Boy, who's been there all season. So it's testament to how well they've done in that Nissan over Dean and Monkey Boy in the Acura.
Yeah, it really is. The Nissan, a better all-round car, but take nothing away from these two boys, Fury and Emo guy Ian. Obviously, they'll be unlucky you can't qualify for this one. Obviously finished 6th on the track, but P5 after G, not officially counting as a driver. So yeah, you can't take anything away from those guys. They really on the scene, and it's not really the car that Fury likes. Ian actually likes this car quite a lot. He really does seem to excel in the Godzilla. I know he's also good in the Lamborghini, so hopefully next season when him and myself team up in the Lambo, he'll also be able to acclimatise to that one as well. I know he's driven it before, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Now look at the qualifying time so far. D-Big's on pole, 700 head a little each, and only 2/10 head of Phil. But one man who's got the upper hand here, due to the reverse grid sort of thing, is Gary. Will qualify P9, Sooty P14. So already has the upper hand over Sooty Apex going into the second race due to the automatic qualification of the back of the pack.
That's it. Yeah, they'll definitely be able to steal the march on the rest of the guys. D-Big's currently setting an absolutely blistering pace here, 44.7, quicker than Little Leach. So that is absolutely fantastic there from D-Biggs. He has improved. He's gone from strength to strength this season.
Yeah, and we said it last week at Algarve. Was he second there with Sooty Apex? What a qualifying he had. He didn't have the best of races when the rain came last week, but he's just got better and better. Alright, he had a disconnection in race 1, and we go to race 2, and he's obviously going to look something better than that, but he's just getting better and better each week that goes by. He's getting from strength to strength. I know a lot of these guys have raced with D-Biggs before in a previous league, but he does look better. He's gone even quicker.
Goodness. Look at that. That is unbelievable.
That is a good lap time. That is a good, solid lap time from D-Biggs there. Little Leach improved a little bit as well. Oh, as he's throwing it round this course. D-Biggs giving it absolutely everything. Phil's in the pit, so he will not improve. P3 for him. So what are we going to see from D-Biggs? Can Little Leach take pole, or will anybody else get any closer to D-Biggs in this second qualifying session, the final qualifying session of the season? One title wrapped up tonight. Leach Motorsport won the Constructors. Forever Forward Racing only need to outscore the Iron Brew Racing by a point, and that's a bit easy to do when Keegs is the only Iron Brew Racing driver on track. Struggled tonight though, has Keegs, currently slower than Dean Wasocki in qualifying at the moment, as Monkey Boy has gone up into P5. Fury into P4 ahead of Kieran Argent then. What can D-Biggs do on this final lap? Here is Monkey Boy though.
Oh, we saw him get a little bit loose coming out of the first couple of turns, so I think this might be a compromised time here from D-Biggs, but he really has got that out. He absolutely nailed down here around this Imola track, which is great to see. And it's been a bit so-so throughout the course of the season, but he's absolutely nailed it this time around. He comes in towards the final hairpin now. I don't think this will be a quicker lap due to the incident or slight little excursion we saw at the beginning of this lap. I'm down to be proved wrong though, as he gets very wide coming out of the last corner onto the pit straight now. D-Biggs could be the pole sitter for the final race of the season here at Simplay. Comes up towards the line now. What is this going to be? Is he going to rub salt in the wounds here? Looks like he can't.
No, doesn't improve, but will stay currently on provisional pole. Fury looks like he's done. I think it's just Dean Wasaki and Monkey Boy. No, just Monkey Boy then on a lap time. Dean will start P7. Keeg struggling in qualifying at the minute. But can Monkey Boy then gain that final position? Or gain a couple of positions here. He needs 6/10 to get ahead of Fury. He needs 1.9, pretty much 2 seconds to take the pole. What can Monkey Boy do in his final outing in the Acura? Can he do enough to try and stay in that pro category next season? That is going to be the question. And he crosses the line, and I don't think he improved there, so it's going to be pole position for D-Biggs, and what a qualifying time it was from that man.
Absolutely fantastic stuff there from D-Biggs. Really did get the hammer down in that session when it was needed, and he's going to be starting on pole position for the final race of the season. But don't write off Little Leach, because I'm sure he's going to be wanting to give it absolutely everything he can. Question is now, does Little Leach help his brother Gary out, or is he going to go for it himself and go for gold here in this final race? Obviously, it's always good to go out on a high in any situation, but especially when it's the last race of the season and you want to take that strength going into the next season.
Also, Phil P3 as well for Sutty. Can Phil help Sutty? Phil has his own little battle going on to try and finish above Peaceful Explosion for P5 in the championship. But surely his priority will be to let Sutty try and win this. Hope Sutty try and win this title if needs be. This is going to be an interesting one to see what happens then in this final race. Could be an absolute cracking race here. Pit window obviously opens at lap 4, unless you have major damage. Who are you tipping for this one, Andy?
For me, for the win, I've got to go for D-Biggs. He's just done a brilliant job in quali. I don't think he's taken a win in this Pro Series yet, so it'd be a first for him. I'm sure he wants to. It'd be interesting if he does take his first win in the last race of the season. It would be not the best time to kind of find your form, but certainly you can take that into next season. But Little Leach as well is definitely a contender. Don't write off Seti Apex. He was so quick in that first race. I'm sure he's going to be coming back through the pack, even though he's starting, as he said, plumb last in the interview in the qualifying session. So not going to be easy for him. Gary starting in 9th, so he really has got the luck of the draw in terms of this non-qualifier starting positions here. He's got a huge advantage over Sutty. So
he really
Sutty's
has.
going to be frustrated with that one.
Do you know something? I don't think Sutty will be frustrated. I think Sutty will see this as an opportunity. Gary kind of starts mid-pack, and I'm sure Sutty would rather start at the back, try to stay at the back maybe for going into turn 1 than at the front, just in case any first corner dramas. You know, especially with and you know, this doesn't. I don't want the drivers taking any offence to this. Obviously, with some of the slower guys, let's say, at the front of the pack, then obviously the likes of Gary and Sutty, who's been at the sharp end all season. Could be a few dramas at turn 1. That's the one I think Sutty will be interested to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the view from Sutty's car looks a little bit like this, and he's got a lot of cars in front of him. It's going to be very tricky for him to make his way back through the pack, but we're almost about to go lights out here at Imola for the final race of the Pro Season Series here in the GT3. That's Simplay Motorsport. When the 5 lights go on, we'll be ready. And lights are out and we're underway. It's a great start there from Little Leach. D-Biggs is very back down off the line there. You can see the background Phil trying to fend off Fury towards into the outside here. Going up towards turn 1. Kieran Argent in 5th. Gary already up into 6th, looking towards the inside here. Coming into turn 1. Gary with an absolutely electric start to this race. He's right behind Kieran Argent already. Looks like we've got a couple of guys going off onto the gravel. And it looks like there's a BMW going on straight over the grass. That's AH there. So AH in all sorts of problems at the beginning of this race. But Little Leach needs to that's Imo going.
Oh, it's hit Sutty!
Oh, no!
He's clipped Sutty!
Oh, Sutty Apex might have damage on that car. He clipped into the barriers there, the left front of that car. would have taken a bit of a whack, but he looks to have got away with it slightly there. But Gary up into 6th place already here, Matt. He's made an absolutely perfect start to this race, and the championship pendulum very much swinging in favour of this man here, Gary.
Indeed it is, and for Sooty Apex there, got caught up in an incident early on, and that's not what he'd have wanted. Gary a bit slidey, coming out the exit there, and G's going to have a look at the inside, but Gary comes across and defends his corner there. Sooty Apex, has he got damage? That's going to be the big question on that one, though. Little Each currently leads, Phil's up 3rd still, D-Big 2nd, so the 2 teammates of Gary and Sooty still up in the top 3 and can help them at the moment then. Explosion! Oh!
He pushes him straight over the chicane there. I think Kieran Argent might have braked it a bit early, but Gary continues on his merry way. And is G going to get the run on Kieran Argent now? We're going side by side here, coming down the hill towards this very tricky braking zone. As you said yesterday, there's a bump in the middle of the road, which can definitely put you off, especially when you go side by side or got the slipstream. But G makes that move up into 6th place, and he gets that done nicely. But Little Leach currently leading this race. He got the lead off of D-Biggs off the start line. D-Biggs got a terrible start from pole position, and he's currently got a very, probably a frustrating sight of a rear end of a Porsche just in front of him. Fury up into 3rd. Good start there from him. Always makes gains on the first lap. Phil, Gary. Looks like Gary's now defending to the inside from G. Has G got that move around the outside coming up towards turn 1? He's got a bit of slipstream there from Phil ahead of him, but he looks like he can't get that one done. And Gary, for the time being, holding on to that position. Kieran Argent going wide there, coming through turns 1 and 2.
And crucially, Andy, Sooty Apex must have had damage on that car as he's in the pit lane then to repair the damage. Where has Phil gone? He's lost out to Fury. He's down to 4th. D-Biggs looks like he's gone a little wide there, but Little Each was very wide on the exit to the corner. And Little Each is round, and he's in the barrier. He can't help his teammate from there. He cannot help his teammate. We didn't see what quite happened. Come back onto the track. Maybe rejoined in front of somebody, not sure there. But that is not going to help Gary 131 at all. G's attacking Phil now. Where is Gary? He's up into 30. Gary's got past Phil. Sooty then still in the pits at the moment.
Gary has got the perfect couple of laps here. He's gone from 9th up to 3rd place already. He's still got G Haas in the back of him as G gets... G has to slam on the brakes there to avoid running into the back of the championship leader. G probably saw that flash before his eyes there and thought, I can't be crashing into the championship leader. He would have been a very unpopular man if he'd taken Gary out there. He had to, that was survival instinct there from G. And he managed to keep it out of Gary's rear end by the skin of his teeth.
He has done absolute bits here. I'm sure Gary's pants were a bit brown looking in his mirrors after that one, because that was a scary, scary moment. G couldn't have done anything better there. Oh, that one was a scary moment there, but I tell you what, D-Big still leads this race from Fury. Gary in 3rd place, and Gary just needs to finish ahead of Sooty. He knows that. Sooty, though, has subsequently pitted and is 56 seconds off the race lead, but can Sooty get them laps in we saw in race 1 and get this job done?
G's got ahead of Phil, but Phil's looking back to the inside, and it looks like G's got that one done up into 4th.
Oh, Kieran!
Runs to the back of Phil! Oh no! Big clouts the back of him into the rear end, and that is Phil down to 8th, and it looks like he's in all sorts of problems now. Kieran Argent there was very, I've got to say, that was a bit of a dirty move there coming into turn 1.
A bit silly there from Kieran, late on the brakes and pulled out, and we've lost Phil from this race. Oh, so Phil will score no points at the end. Needed to be peaceful for his 5th place in this title, but will not score points there.
AH up the inside there, coming up into turn 6. He's got that one done, and now Kieran Argent's got Monkey Boy right behind him as well. But AH made a fantastic move on the brakes up into 5th place. It looks like we're side by side here. Is Monkey Boy gonna have that move up the inside? Looks like he pushed him out a little bit of rubbing between the wheels, and that's Kieran Argent was somehow holding on around the outside there ahead of Monkey Boy. But Kieran Argent making a very questionable move there on Phil, and Phil, understandably so, just rage quit from the session as we see Kieran Argent going very wide there onto the gravel. That's allowed Monkey Boy up into 6th place. Kieran Argent really struggling here.
I tell you what Monkey Boy's doing is he's putting himself in a great position to try and fight till the end for this title, for this promotion. D-Biggs is doing bits, but Fury's doing even better. G has got past Gary, we haven't seen that one. Fury doing what he needs to do, and Little Each looks like he could get lapped here. Sooty Apex needs to now nail these laps. Phil Naylor, in the joke. Phil Taylor, he's a darts player, or retired darts player. Phil Naylor, absolute joke, he says. And I couldn't agree more, if I'm going to be honest. That was a silly move from Kieran Argent. And yeah, it's one that didn't need to be made, especially at this time in the season, final race. But I tell you what, there's Little Each being lapped by D-Biggs and Fury.
Yeah, Fury doing a great job here in this race. He's holding on to the back of D-Biggs just about. Fury's had an on and off season so far in this one. It's been hit and miss for him. He finished in P2 over in Japan and at Fuji, but since then he's really struggled in that GTR, but he seems to be getting to grips with it now in this final race of the season, sticking to the back of D-Biggs very nicely. Looks like G still following these guys through. G just struggling to put a lap there on Little Leach. Little Leach is going to be frustrated with the way his race has gone. He was up in the lead, he was challenging D-Biggs. He's now 13th and last and over a lap down on pretty much the whole pack here.
Indeed he is, so it's not the way that Little Leach would have wanted his season to finish. Although they've wrapped up the Constructors' title, they've got to now still get a job done. That's Monkey Boy. Is it? No, it's Dean Wasocki. It's Dean Wasocki who's round, and that's Imo guy who's got past him. So Dean Wasocki having a moment at the hairpin then, and not the night he'd have wanted. Relegation pretty much coming for this man, and it's not gone well. Sooty Apex gaining on the back of Keegs. Keegs has not, had a good night whatsoever, and Sooty back in the 44s already, Andy.
He is, yeah, but he's got too much to overhaul in this race. He said in the build-up to this one he won't give up till the checkered flag, so we know that he'll keep going and keep pushing, but this has just gone horribly wrong for this man. He's just made that move there on Keegs, but he's got a mountain to climb. And the thing is, Gary running in 4th place, he's looked prominent. I mean, he's made a mistake on that last lap, so he's obviously dropped it down to 4th. He was in 3rd ahead of G.
News, Andy. Sorry to cut you off there. News. Keegs has been taken ill. He's been sick apparently. He's not feeling too great. He started throwing up, so it's actually Welshie on the wheel.
Oh wow!
Welshie he's taken to the wheel of the BMW. So this isn't Keegs actually driving; it's Welshie on the wheel. And there goes the Pro-Am runner-up. Sorry, Welshie, you probably dropped the wheel there as well. Last one in. I'm sorry. I apologise. I've got the last one in. See you next season, mate. But Keegs there. Obviously taking us, so Keegs, we hope you get better, mate. Final race of the season, obviously nothing to lose, and Welsh, you're getting a bit of practice in G. Hassel in the back of Fury now. Gary's coming under pressure from the man he had a race with in race 1. And look at Monkey Boy in the background. They're not getting rid of Monkey Boy easy.
No, he still has a slim chance of staying up in this league, but he's got to outscore Fury by quite a lot of points, and I don't think that's going to happen, but he wants to go out with a bang and probably take the momentum going into the Pro-Am for next season. He's currently right up the chuff here of Age. We see Age getting a little bit onto the grass there, dips the through.
Is that?
Right wheel.
That's Little Leach.
The grass. Oh, it is, so I do apologise. Sorry. Right?
So I thought it was on board AH here with Gary in front then.
Oh dear, sorry about that, guys. That's total gaff there. Oh my god. AH right up the back of Gary at the moment though. So AH not dipping a wheel onto the grass ahead of Monkey Boy. He's actually chasing down Gary, and it looks like, we see him getting a little bit on the edge coming out of the chicane.
It's just a bit slidey coming out of chicane, getting into a few beans there as he come on the exit. And AH resumes his battle with Gary 131. Can he get that move done? Gary's not having a very strong second race here, or is he just, do you think it's more of, not necessarily a strong race, but a race where he can just take his time knowing that Sooty's 40 odd seconds behind? Look at the run G's got though coming down the start straight. Fury is helpless to that run that G's got there, and G gets the move done before turn 1.
I wonder if Fury had a penalty there coming down the pit straight, because he seemed to get out of the gas and G just cruised past him, but G's up into some clean air now, not too far off the back of D-Biggs. G will be wanting to take his first win at Simplay. Did he take his first win?
I think he's had a first winner.
I think he already took one, technically, but obviously...
No, he didn't. He led at Monza, if you remember, race 2 at Monza, and Span and AH and Gary battled on the last lap at the Parabolica, if you remember.
Yeah, because he was leading and then he crashed in the last lap. So this would actually be G's first win if he was able to chase down D-Biggs and get himself into the lead. Obviously a long way left to go into this race. None of these guys have made their pit stop yet, except obviously Sooty, Keegs and Little Leach. So
I don't think Keegs has pitted. Unless he did, and that's where they changed over. I didn't see Keegs in the pit. I've only got down on my notes that Craig and Sooty have pitted, so I'm wondering if he's just had to dash out the chair if he has been sick somewhere. I wonder if he's just had to jump out park the car up and jump out the chair, and then his dad's just taken over, if that's the case, because I've not got Keegs pitting down on my notes. But either way, obviously, it's hard for Keegs at the moment, obviously, if he's not feeling too well, to just be able to get it around the track. It's nice that he's not just retired the car though, and he's decided to let his dad have a go on the wheel and practice for next season.
Yeah, absolutely, and as you said, it's a shame that he can't take part, but we're looking forward to seeing what Welsh he can get on on this wheel, because we believe he's got a wheel of his own as well now.
He's got the G29 for next season, so not on the pad anymore, on the G29. So this is going to be an interesting one to see here. is pitting earlier. So that's end of lap 6. is in the pit. So what can he do? Peaceful Explosion following him in as well. Where's Sooty Apex? 52 seconds behind. We believe it's about a 30-second loss in the pits, provided your pit stop is brilliant and everything goes to plan. Sooty only just coming up to the chicane, Andy. And G now hassling D-Biggs for the race lead.
He is giving this absolutely everything at the moment. D-Biggs has led the race pretty much since Little Leach's incident. He was also on pole position, so we know that he had the pace over the course of this event so far. But G's been reeling him in over these last few laps. G's lapping in the 44s in the race. That is scorching pace here from the only G, the multiple world record holder in the V8 supercars here on Project Cars 2. And he seems to have got to grip with these GT3s very nicely over the course of this season. He's been gradually improving, finding bits of pace here and there. And we're currently seeing him really hassling the back of D-Biggs. Could it be G's first win? Obviously, as Matt mentioned earlier, he was leading the race at Monza, the race 2, earlier in the season, and then actually spun it coming into Ascari on the last lap. Threw away the race win. That could have been his chance, but he's looking to the inside here. D-Biggs is going to try and cover it off. Is G going to make a quick move to the inside? No, he thinks better on that one, but D-Biggs is really fighting this with everything he's got. Both of these guys chasing their first win at Simplay in the Pro Series, so they're going to be extra motivated to make sure that nothing happens here. But currently D-Biggs doing a great job of keeping G at bay for the time being.
Indeed they are. D-Biggs doing a cracking job, and we said it in qualifying, Andy, you said it yourself, he's getting better and better. Gary's now on the back of Fury at the moment. Monkey Boy's up into 5th place after the first few pit stops, so Monkey Boy doing a heck of a job here so far. Little Leach has managed to pass Keegs, or aka Welsh as we see there, but Fury having to defend from Gary now. Sooty Apex is the man to watch at the moment. What can he do in this race?
G's up the inside here. D-Biggs is going to try and hold it around the outside, just about keeps it within the white lines. G's really pushing him for everything he's got here. Is G going to try and go around the outside? He looks back to the inside here. D-Biggs once again cutting off, not allowing G to find any route around him at the moment. D-Biggs really covering off the road brilliantly. He's parking his car in all the right places coming around the corners, and G is absolutely on a mission here, but D-Biggs really holding on to this one nicely.
And if I know Biggs, Andy, like I do, he's absolutely solid at defending. Will not give it up, but he's made a mistake there. Where's he gone? He's in the gravel. We see in G's rear mirror he's made a mistake, twitched into the gravel there, and I was just about to say, he's such a hard defender, is D-Biggs. Sometimes can just over-defend a little, but he got a twitch coming out the corner, and that has ruined that one then. G leads by 2.5 seconds. D-Biggs will obviously take points for first, but I'm sure he'll want to do that by getting P1 on the track anyway. Gary's just dropped off the back of Fury's. Excuse me, a little bit. The gap between Gary and Sooty is 43 seconds at the moment, but it's not enough for Sooty to win this race. Sooty is lapping in the 45 deads at the minute, nearly lapping at G's pace. He is a man on a mission.
Yeah, but it's surely not going to come to any avail, because he's down in 9th place. He's 49 seconds off of G. I mean, he's 40 seconds off of Gary. He could potentially finish ahead of Gary, but Gary would have to have a total nightmare in this race. It would take a spectacular performance from Sooty to come back and win this one. I just can't see it happening. I'd love to be proved wrong. He's lapping consistently and quickly, but it just seems to me to be too much of a tall order. As you see, G, the leader, is in the pits.
Yeah, G's in the pits. I think he's just leaving the pit lane now. So good pit stop from G. Only dropped down to 5th place from the lead, so not bad. Although Emo Guy's pitting as well, so I was just about to say where's Emo Guy, but he's came into the pits himself. Dean Wasaki currently 7th, should then inherit P6. I don't think he'll get P5. Little Leach has been lapped, and Kieran Argent and Little Leach have both been lapped, but they're battling on track for position then. So Dean Wasaki should pass Emo Guy here, I'd imagine. There he goes. And Kieran having a look, he's put sorry Phil in the chat, so obviously it feels like he was at fault for that one. Dean Wasaki crosses the line and moves up into P6 as he's passed AH.
Gary makes the move on Fury up into 2nd place there. This will be a net 3rd once obviously these guys come in, because G's already been into the pits for his mandatory pit stop. So
what has happened to AH? Because Dean's just gone up into 6th ahead of him.
Yeah,
has he made a mistake?
He was pretty close to G a few moments ago, but
I mean, I know he's pitted, but I'm sure he was in front of Emo. I'm sure he passed Emo guy in the pits. Or was he always behind Dean? I just didn't notice that and pay attention to that one. I'm not quite sure. Either way, he's 7th. He's got 3 seconds back to Dean Wysocki. There's you see Dean up the road. And there is Sooty Apex in 8th place at the moment. And he's going for this one and trying to give it his absolute all. 44.6 he's just done. That may be quicker than G in this race. We've seen G in the 44s, but I can't remember exactly what G did.
What we've got to pay attention to now is obviously Sooty is 15 seconds behind G. G is the net race leader. Obviously he was leading when he came into the pits. We know a pit stop's around 35 seconds here in this race. Sooty is currently 47 seconds behind D Biggs, so he's still got work to do here in this one. He will need to be lapping about a second and a second and a half quicker a lap than D Biggs if he wants to end up overhauling him. But I think G is pretty much out of the picture for Sooty. I think the only G just seems to have superior
he's got
pace
too much
around
pace.
the similar track tonight. Yeah, he's not going to be. Sooty's not going to be able to reel him in. He's too far ahead. 15 seconds is too much of a gap to overhaul, in my opinion. But Sooty Apex could definitely be on for a podium if he keeps up the sort of pace he's at the moment, and that would be nothing short of a miracle. When you consider what happened on the opening lap to him, he really hasn't given up. He's kept going and kept believing, and if anything does happen to Gary, if Gary were to disconnect at this point, and obviously Sooty didn't...
Oh, that's Fury!
Oh, Fury, they're getting out of shape. And it looks like he's been clouted in the back a little bit there by a back marker. That's a little leech there, running into the back of Fury. Can't really blame little leech for that one. Fury rejoined the track in a bit of an awkward position, but
yeah,
Fury getting out of shape. I was just saying there that Sooty did say in the interview he wouldn't want the championship to be decided on a disconnection. He wouldn't want to inherit the championship based on that.
Sooty's passed AH.
He has, yeah. So AH going backwards at this point. He really is. Seems to be struggling quite a bit.
Now, what's Sooty's gap to Gary? 40 seconds. So he needs to somewhere find 10 seconds if he is to keep on that pace. He's 2 seconds a lap quicker than Gary at the moment. So Sooty just needs to beat Gary, outscoring by 15 points. And it'll take that down to the wire. He's obviously not going to get the race win to make it 6-all on race wins. Gary will have that one 6-5 at the moment as Fury comes into the pits and at the end of lap 9. So Fury pitting now then. This will be a test to see where he comes out in relation to Sooty. He was a bit further back than Gary, but if Sooty can gain on Fury here and jump him, then we'll kind of see where Sooty can come out compared to Gary in a moment.
Well, how far was Fury behind Gary?
A couple of seconds
behind him. So Fury's already out of the box. He's coming towards the end of the pit lane now. He's going to cross over this little precinct in the road, and then he will be out. He's already come past that, so he's coming out to the end of the pits now. Where's Sooty on the road? Looks like Wysocki might come out close to Fury here. Where's Fury? There is Fury. Is Dean Wysocki going to get past Fury? He might do, actually. He's going to have to speed coming down towards turn 1. So Dean Wysocki comes out ahead of Fury, and looks like Fury just in front of Sooty. So this is now incredibly close between these guys, but Sooty Apex would not have wanted this. He's got 2 guys right in front of him, battling it out and potentially holding him up. Oh, Fury gets out of shape and just misses Sooty. Sooty will be counting his chickens after that one. He also can get the move done on Dean, so Sooty in the end, reasonably charging passes there. Double overtake from this man. He can see the championship slipping away, but he's not going to give up by any stretch of the imagination. He's going to keep going until the checkered flag, just like he said in the interviews.
Sooty's charging there, Andy. I think he actually touched the side of Fury coming through the corner. I think he just leant on Fury a little bit, which is why we saw Fury a bit out of shape. But that has meant that Sooty, though, you can just see how much it means to him. You can see how much he wants this title. D-Biggs pits from the lead at the end of lap 10. You can see that Sooty Apex wants this win. End of lap 11, should I say. Gary staying out for another lap. And this now gives us a true reflection of the gap. It's 40 seconds, Gary to Sooty. This is now where it gets a bit interesting. What can Sooty Apex do in these couple of laps here? 4 laps to go for Sooty to try and gain on Gary. 1-3-1. Monkey Boy and dealership pitted, and Sooty's pushing that hard. He's all out of shape at the chicane, and he's really giving it some.
He knows this is the last opportunity. He's just got to throw caution to the wind and really leave everything out on the track. Because if he doesn't, then he will always rue what could have been. But at the moment, it's looking like it's not going to do it for him. Gary's got a 42-second lead. Once Gary comes into the pits, he'll have about 4 or 5 seconds in hand over Sooty. So at the moment, it looks like Gary's going to do enough. And the thing is, even if Sooty were to finish ahead of Gary, he's still not going to get the championship. Gary coming into this final race with a 15-point margin in the championship. So Sutty would not only have to win the race, Gary would have to finish in 6th. It's not going to happen for Sutty at the moment. He needs to try and do something that will maybe fluster Gary a little bit. If Sutty were to come out ahead of Gary, that might get into Gary's head. It could make Gary panic and might end up causing him to make mistakes. But at the moment, Gary, all he needs to do is just bring it home and finish in P5 in this race. 5th place for Gary, and he's the champion.
Shout out to D Biggs. He's coming in and out the pits. There's 4 seconds up the road from the only G. We saw he was actually behind G during the pit stops, so he's jumped G, going that bit longer than what G has done. So a good drive there for D Biggs in terms of getting in and out the pits before G. Then you see G in the background, but you're right, Gary has the momentum at the moment. Sutty is 10 12 seconds behind D Biggs, so that's the gap there. So all right, might not be 10 or 12 seconds to Gary, but it's going to be a lot of... Gary's going to have a good advantage over Sutty when he does pit. And don't forget, the later he leaves it, Gary's just started that 13, the later Gary leaves it, the longer his tyres are going to be pushing before he can either change them or cool them down. He'd be silly to change his tyres from here. I tell you, do you know what? It's kind of written. I've got a funny feeling. I don't want to say it actually, but I've got a funny feeling something's going to happen in this. I don't know. I've just got a feeling about me that something's going to happen in this race. I don't think this title's done yet, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. And I don't know
would
why.
Have to make a monumental error at the end of this race, Matt. I can't see him throwing this one away. I really can't. I think he's got this one signed, sealed, and posted. He just has to bring this one home. All he has to do is finish in 5th, and that's if Sutty wins the race. Sutty's not going to win this race.
Well, don't forget, with G in the top 4, Gary's actually technically got to cross the line net 6th place, with G not scoring points. If he finishes 6th, that's still good enough for 5th. So he's actually got that extra place to sort of play with, if you know what I mean there. But I don't know. I've just got a funny feeling in my gut that this isn't over. I've got a feeling that this isn't done. But we'll have to wait and see. Sutty 8 seconds off the back of the only G, so he is really pushing for this one. Gary, will we see Sutty come on the hairpin? There is Sutty. There's G coming over the brow of the hill. AH down in 6th. Fury 7th after his pit stop, so he's lost a few places there. Peaceful's 8th. Not really seen much of Peaceful explosion tonight, Andy. I know he finished in the top 5 race 1, but he's sort of had a quiet night for Peaceful.
Yeah, I don't know. He's not really been the same Peaceful in these last few races. The season's winded down. He's fallen out of the contention for the championship, and I think that's definitely done a bit of a number on him in terms of his confidence. And unfortunately for him, it's just not really gone to plan in the latter stages of this season. But I'm sure he'll be back next season. Obviously, he will have a world record holder as a teammate, and depending whether or not we run setups, I'm not sure what the plan is for that in the Pro Series. But setups were to be on, I'm sure that those two would definitely be able to help each other out a little bit.
I think setups or not, I think the G is only going to help Peaceful get better as a driver, if I'm going to be honest with you. I think G will know a few tricks that Peaceful can take from G, and he'll pick up a few tricks and stuff, whether it's default or not. I think there's just a lot that Peaceful can pick up from G at the moment. Gary then still hasn't pitted, leads by 13 seconds from Monkey Boy. He's about to lap Monkey Boy's teammate Dean Wasocki.
Crucially, Sutty in striking distance now of Gary, so he could potentially come out ahead of Gary. I mean, it's going to be close, to tell you that. Gary might end up coming out in 4th, I think, possibly behind Sutty in 5th. Sutty would pick up 4th, but Sutty still needs... Oh no, Monkey Boy is obviously still got a pit, so Monkey Boy will come out ahead of... Monkey Boy will come out behind Gary, so Gary will come out in a net 4th if he came out behind Sutty.
I reckon
Sutty
so,
would be 3rd. Sutty will be 3rd. Gary will be 4th. And then obviously you've got D-Biggs. Oh, I don't know, Sutty's 10 seconds behind D-Biggs. So D-Biggs and G started getting into a scrap, had a mistake, crashed into each other. Sutty got ahead of both of them. Sutty would then be in the lead of the race. If Gary made a mistake, got overtaken by AH in 6th, if all these things fell together to create some kind of miracle, we could see Sutty as the champion, but this would take a lot of crazy stuff to happen. And we've only got 2 laps left to go. Gary's still yet to come in to make his pit stop.
So is Monkey Boy as well. Oh no, Monkey Boy is in now. Get your votes in for driver of the day with 2 laps left. The final driver of the day for the season. Monkey Boy has done so well in this second race, but he's going to lose a few places here. Can Sutty Apex get Monkey Boy in the pits for that extra position? Gary has no choice but to pit on the lap he is on. So let's see. I'm going to go for Sutty for driver of the day. I think the race 1 win and the drive this second race has been phenomenal. So I'm going to give it to Sutty, Andy. I don't know about yourself.
Yeah, I think the same for me. Just his never say die attitude in this race has been seriously. It's been something else. I know. Most of the time when I see a driver in a championship in the final race get some terrible luck happen to them like this, it usually doesn't end well. You see them have a bit of a stinker or retire from the race.
Yeah.
That could just be my experience in sim racing, but certainly Sutty has done the complete opposite of that. In a way, it's galvanised him. I mean, he's been driving quicker in this race 2 than he was in race 1. He's consistently in the 144s. He's been on it in this race. He has probably got his eyes glued to the screen. He's not even blinking now. I don't know how he's managed to keep up this level of consistency over such a long period of time. It's honestly remarkable. And
he is a man that will never say die.
And he might come out ahead of Gary here. To put that into perspective, Gary has had a trouble-free race, has pretty much been near the front for the entirety of this one. Sutty could end up ahead of Gary on the track, and that's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
From Sutty's side of things.
No one yet.
Oh, we see. Who's that? Who was that? Somebody getting sideways there. Was that? I just flicked to a camera and saw someone getting sideways. I don't know who that was. But sorry.
Oh, you scared me there. I was about to say, no votes yet for driver of the day apart from mine and yours for Sutty Apex. You've got 1 lap to get your vote in for driver of the day. But yeah, you're right. Was it Sutty having a mistake? He looked a bit slow. Where's Gary?
Yeah.
That white dot is slowly coming out the pits. So this is going to be close come the end. D-Biggs will take net first place. He's got that lead back. There is Gary emerging from the pit exit now. And where's Sutty Apex? He's here. He'll be able to see his championship rival. And this is going down to the last lap. But even if Sutty gets past Gary, it's not going to be enough.
No, Gary's going to most likely be standing on the third step of the podium here. He's going to be taking the championship as long as he doesn't disconnect or have some kind of absolute nightmare on this last lap.
He's not lagged as much this second race. He restarted his PS4, Sutty said, and he's not lagged as much.
No, it's been a lot more stable, to be honest. But this is the battle for the lead here. D-Biggs and the only G on the final lap of the race. G obviously made a mistake on the pit stop phases because he lost a bit of time to D-Biggs, but he is really hassling the back of him now as they're coming around the last half a lap here. Both of these guys are going for their first win here at Simplay in the Pro Series. So this is really going to be interesting as both of these guys are going to be going hell for leather as in this final lap. D-Biggs currently holding on for this one, but G is really giving it everything. And we see D-Biggs rising over the curve a little bit there. G's looking to the outside. D-Biggs going very defensive coming up towards the last chicane. G has a little look to the inside, tries to distract D-Biggs in the mirrors if he can. D-Biggs riding over the curve a little bit, taking a big amount of curve there. And G's in a slipstream. Is he going to have a chance coming into this final hairpin, Matt? Or is D-Biggs going to try and send him round the long way here, coming into the last couple of corners?
Well, D-Biggs doing a fantastic job at defending at the moment, and he's gone very defensive into the to the penultimate corner. And G is very slidey under the braking, and a bit of a lock up from him there. He did so well not to just put it in the back of D-Biggs. I think D-Biggs has now done enough. Little Each there is a lap down, not for third. That's a shame it's not a battle for third. But here comes D-Biggs. But look at Sutty is behind Gary. D-Biggs will take his first win, and this is going to be a photo finish for these two. G will take second on the road, but Gary is going to win the Pro Championship here. Sutty gave it his all in this second race, and Gary 131 will be your champion in Season 1 here at Simplay Motorsport. Did exactly what he needed to do, and he, Andy, has been fantastic.
He has, and every single time there's been a wet race, this man has been a total maestro. Gary, I just have to say, a well-deserved champion all around. When you combine everything, he's been unstoppable in the races. The qualifyings haven't really been his forte, but when it comes to race day, once those lights go out, he has been unstoppable. Absolutely massive congratulations to this man on Simplay Motorsport's inaugural GT3 Pro Series. He's driven a hell of a season, and you can see here he's about to do some what appears to be some celebratory donuts. There we go.
There we go. Top stuff absolutely from this phenomenal man. Yeah. He's been, I think Sutty and Little Each are joining in with him as well. It's been a picturesque season for him, and let's not forget a knee operation at Fuji. That is what he's done. He's done absolutely brilliantly. Little Leach there doing donuts as he's a Constructors winner. Sooty in P2. Let's hope we can get Gary and Sooty in for a word at the end. But a top drive from all of them. And I tell you what a way to end the final race of the season. Oh, brilliant drive from D Biggs and the only G. Who took the fastest lap? Sooty took the fastest lap. Was 5/10 quicker than G. Holy, Sooty was on fire there. Gary then comes home P3. Will take points for second place. Sooty will technically take third, with AH crossing line fifth, Monkey Boy sixth, Fury seventh, Emo Guy in eighth place, Peaceful Explosion ninth, Dean Wasaki in 10th, with Little Leach crossing the line in 11th, and Kieran Argent P12 for that one. We lost Phil Keegs / Welsh, came P13 as well. We lost Phil early on. Sooty, what a lap. Let's get Sooty and Gary in for an interview. The invite was sent, so let's see what they can do if they do join us. But Andy, what a cracking season that has been.
Absolutely phenomenal, guys. And if you want to get involved in the action on the track, then make sure you go to facebook.com/Simplay Motorsport. That's where you can join the on-track action and be a part of a new season. You'll have to cut your teeth in the Pro-Am Series on a Wednesday night to prove that you've got what it takes to race amongst these boys. These are the creme de la creme, and Gary, the cream of the crop tonight.
Phil in the chat says Kieran for driver of the day, D-Big's driver of the day for Motive Racing, Sooty for driver of the season, says Phil, and well done Gary, says Monkey Boy. Let's hope we can get these two guys in for a quick interview. Andy, it's been a pleasure this year to have you commentate. I'm going to miss you in the pro category next year, but I'll get to commentate on you driving. I don't know if we're going to get these guys in. Sooty's actually just joined us now. Sooty
for the Pro-Am Series, Matt, so looking forward to that one every single Wednesday. It'll be good fun seeing the new guys cutting their teeth in, and some of these guys out in the Pro Series also. Yeah.
Commiserations, Sooty, mate. What a drive that was. You was just on another level.
Yeah, I did a bit like you in another league we won't mention at Silverstone. I got a bit peeved off at the start, and I don't know where that 44.2 came from, to be fair. But yeah, you seen a Sooty send it finally, Andy?
That was an absolute brilliant drive, mate. You was just on another level in that one. But commiserations, obviously, bit of a bump at the start line.
Yeah,
it was one of them things, you know. It was, yeah.
I tried to brake and go left. He ended up with the Imo guy straight in front of me. I thought, well, that's it. I had 20 odd damage to my suspension, as you might have seen. The car was all over. I had pit. I'll be honest, I thought race was over. I seen 50 seconds, and I know Phil ended up in my ear. He wasn't racing. And Phil was like saying, "You're doing well, like."
Well, he was actually quicker than G, who over one lap is probably the best guy on the. It was probably the quickest guy on the track. Half a second quicker than G's fastest lap time.
Gutted. I was gutted because every single lap was a 44, barring the last one where I lost 3 seconds, where I span it nearly out the chicane. I think I would have got Gary.
We
I think I would have got Gary.
We just started flicking down the cameras, like everyone, and I just saw somebody losing it. I was like, "Who's that?" And then the next second, you were just in a straight line again. So
it was me. It was like a half spin. I ended up 90 degrees off. I seen Gary at the pits. I thought, "Oh no!" I've been beat by him on a 9 board.
What did you? What did you think what do you think let you down in the season? Do you think the fact you wasn't able to be there at Red Bull Ring possibly cost you too many points? Difference to Gary that could have done it. You ended up 19 points behind him. So
I think it'd be fair. It's probably maybe he got more at Red Bull Ring, but we don't know. And obviously, I had that mishap at Silverstone. There's a few other things. It just didn't come together for me really at the season. Gary seems to be able to stay out of trouble where I can't. I find it.
Well, mate, commiserations. You've given us plenty of enjoyment this season. There's no more Sooty safeties, hopefully, going forward. Brilliant drive tonight. Top stuff.
Well, I did 2 and 1 again, just like where the Sooty send it come from.
That was commiserations, mate. Best of luck for next season. We can't wait to see you on track.
And I'd just like to say congratulations to Gary and his brother with the Constructors, and congratulations to Gary.
Yeah, cheers, well done, buddy. Gary, mate, absolutely massive congratulations. I saw one person comment in the chat, so she must be a very happy lady at the time. For the time being, you must be over the moon, bud.
Yeah, chuffed as nuts. Like I said, it was touch and go whether I was even going to race tonight. So fair play to me teammate and my brother for letting me use his internet and crash in his house for the evening, but it's worked out well.
On an ironing board, you've just finished
On an ironing board.
P3. 2 podiums tonight on an ironing board. That must have been hard work.
Yeah, it was, especially in the first one when I hadn't quite got it set up right, and the ironing board decided to go over to the other side of the room, and the wheels were all sliding, pedals were all over the place. I set it up a bit better for the second one though, so.
Just talk us through that second race, because Sutty was on a mission there and just came from nowhere. I bet you didn't expect to see him again after his long, lengthy pit stop.
I didn't really pay attention to what was going on with anyone else really. I just sort of got my head down. I was putting in consistent slow times, but I weren't making any mistakes, so that's what I was aiming to do really. I knew he still had to get past me and I still had to drop some places, so as long as I was steady I should have been alright.
Did you, just want to ask, there was a bit of an incident between yourself and Kieran coming into the chicane, bit of a tap up the rear on Kieran. Did you tap him, or, because obviously I know in the first race you said you didn't feel like you tapped AH, but he felt a little tap from behind, so did you tap Kieran that time, or?
Pass. Can't tell until I look back, to be fair.
I don't think it was a big enough incident, even if the stewards looked at it, to make any difference. Gary, mate, massive congratulations. You've been fantastic all year. Bad knee and everything. You've been absolutely brilliant to watch. Hopefully you can take that forward to next season. Congratulations on both titles as well, the Constructor and the Drivers' Championship. You've really been consistent all season.
Yep, hats off to me brother. He's kept it cool all year and got some decent places. He didn't have a very good night tonight and he's not very happy about it, but at the end of the day we got the job done in race 1, so happy days.
Yeah, well, best luck going into next season, mate. Can you do it again?
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully.
G and Andy on track next season with you, as well as the Sutty, Little Each and everybody else. Gary, fantastic. Andy, any final words?
Massive congrats, Gary. Consistent all season, and yeah, fantastic performance on the track all year round, pretty much. Looking forward to joining you next season on the track. So yeah, great
should
stuff.
be good fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a good season next season.
Gary, top job. Thanks for joining us. Andy, pleasure having you in the commentary box all season with us. That's your lot, though, from Simplay Motorsport for this season. Stay tuned over the December and Christmas period and going into the new year for a few special events that will be running over the season break, should I say. And we'll be back, I do believe, mid-January. January 13th, 14th, no, that's December. January 17th, 18th, I do believe we are back for what will be Season 2, Round 1 at Nürburgring. And a few rule changes coming, so keep your eyes out for them on the Simplay Motorsport page and group if you are in it. Andy, pleasure as always. Sad to see you leave. I only get to talk to you half the time of the season next year. I don't get to see you on a Wednesday and a Thursday night, but I wish you the best luck, mate, going into the Pro Series.
Yeah, well, we'll still be commentating together, Matt, and hopefully we can do a few more whenever possible. But yeah, it's gonna be, oh man, it's gonna be funny being out on the track rather than commentating. I don't know, all this time that I've been commentating, and I've literally been aching to get out on the track, and now that I've got that space spot, I almost feel a little bit sad. It's
like the end of an era sort of thing, that our time's sort of coming to an end. And
well, the thing is, it's the Pro Series. It's like that's always been the main event. You know what I mean? Like when we commentated on the Pro Series together, it's always the most exciting one. The Pro-Am's good, but like the most fun, the best memories I've got of our commentaries have been on this one.
Yeah, they have.
And it's just going to be funny. Like, it's probably going to be worse for you because obviously you're going to see me out on track, and the thing is, like, it's just going to be, I don't know.
It's going to be hard.
I'm going to be really looking forward to racing, and we've still got plenty of fun commentaries to come. That's for sure.
Oh, indeed we have. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. Andy, thank you for your time. Everybody, thank you for being a part of this journey at Simplay Motorsport. We started 13, 14 weeks ago, and where we are now, it's been such a season, such an honour for the final race of the season and for the final time here at Simplay Motorsport. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the second season. Keep your eyes out, like I say, for them special events. But from all of us here at Simplay Motorsport, good night.
Good night.
I